Hello, everybody. How are you? I thought I'd go live. Um, SK had a um, live this morning to which he did a very stunning little vase. And I thought, okay. He also offered a challenge too. So I'm going to do the challenge. I've already sent him pictures of some other vases that I've done. But I thought, all right, he offered the challenge today. Let's do one today. Why not? So, if you want to hang with me, I will be happy to have you here. Come hang out. Ah, chat just popped in. Hello, John. Hello, Sarge. Hello, Rex. Updates on Robbo. He was actually on last night. He was doing really brilliantly well. Needs a cigarette really bad, but other than that, I haven't heard anything this morning, so don't know. And let's see here. Put that in there. Anybody feels like popping in and saying hello to everybody else, there's the link. So anyway, like I said, we are doing a vase today. Easy peasy. Nothing flash. Nothing. Well, I don't know. It might be flash. It just happens. Let's see. Wood we are going to use today is honey locust. Only because I have got a whole bunch of it and it's perfect size. And that's what it is. So we got the timber on, and I've peeled most of it, so don't be surprised if some things go flying. Honey locust is actually really pretty. I did a bowl kind of a thing on Jay's live last night, and I'll show you guys. This is how it turned out. So anyway, let's do a vase. Got to get the old Michael Jackson glove on, kind of. I'm the wood turning Michael Jackson. No, I don't want to be known as that. Never mind. Flash off the lathe. I like that. Question: when rough turning, what do you keep cracks from occurring? You don't. Unfortunately, Rex, wood moves, especially if it's wet. You can turn it and then throw it in, a bunch of chips and see how bad it warps, and then turn it again. And hopefully it will stabilize. You can put all kinds of chemicals and waxes and all that kind of stuff, but I've come to find that wood will move when it wants to. It will crack when it wants to. Most of the time, hey Tommy, how are you, buddy? Most of the time, if you get a really good dry piece, though, it'll be pretty stable for a good long time. So, turning wet, and there's certain species of trees that just like to crack. I've turned fruit wood, and unfortunately, fruit wood is notorious for cracking. Apple and pear and all of that. So, but the drier you can get it, the more stable it'll be. Sorry, I had to take a drink. It is almost 90 degrees in my shop, and I'm sweating a little bit, so I'm a little colorful today. That's all right. Gotta get this phone out of my pocket though. So I got my protective gear on, and unfortunately, a lot of times, being that it's this hot in here, they'll fog up. Hate that. But you know what? It's better than losing an eyeball. My face, yeah, it's already destroyed anyway, so it's not going to get any better. It's only going to get worse. Sanding sealer does cut down on it. It goes into the wood, and but it only goes so far. Yeah, sanding sealer I've found really is more for finish. If you want to put sanding sealer on first, I know that oh shoot, I forget his name. He's up in Portland. He never uses sanding sealer, but you know that's some people swear by it. I use sanding sealer if I'm going to use some like OB shine juice. It just kind of gives it a nice bed for it to put a shine on it. Yeah, thanks, Rex. And Tommy, you are absolutely right. A lot of times it's a turn twice because wet wood likes to move. All right, Sarge. Well, thanks for popping in. Good to see you. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get to turning on this vase. I have a general idea on the shape. But first things first, what we're going to do is we're going to put a tenon on this. That way I can turn it around. I like this side better. This side has cracks in it, and I don't really want to deal with the cracks. Yeah. All right. Well, no, I can't do that. I was going to open up my garage door, but if I do that, the sun's going to come in and it's going to make it even hotter. So anyway, so tenon on this side, and then we'll turn it around and then work that way. So with that in mind, I've already got my speed. Get everything adjusted just the way it should. I was talking to Robbo last night, and he says every time you turn off your lathe, make sure that you check your tailstock. Make sure everything is tight. It's always a wise word. So let's go from there. Usually I will keep the speed down on this, but it's a little out of shape. And so to keep my lathe from rocking, I turned up the speed a little bit. Even this honey locust is a little wet. Gotta love all of those little curls coming off of there. Now that's more in shape. Turn the speed up a little bit. For those of you who are interested, let's see. I am at about 1,200 RPM. We'll turn that off, see how it's shaping up. That's going to be interesting. It looks like a crack, but it's been filled in. I didn't fill it with anything. So check my tailstock, make sure it's nice and tight. And let's turn the tenon. Now, you can do something like that, old Robert Sorby. It'll take you a little bit of time to use that. You can use a parting tool, which that's fine too. However, I'm going to use a skew and just right on that edge. I am going to bevel that just a little bit so it matches my chuck and it has a better chance of staying in the chuck. And that actually should be just great. See how it, I don't know if you can see or not, it has cracks. Those cracks that I used on, that were on this side, they go down in here. But once I actually get it around my chuck, those are going to compress and it'll be nice and tight. So that's kind of the rule of thumb that I've always used, is whatever side, if it has cracks in it, that's going to be my bottom. Hello, Gerard. Hey, Gav. How are you? Gav, good to see you. Long time no see, buddy. One thing, every time I see Gav, I have to give props to him. Sorry, buddy, if you want to be conspicuous, but one of my best tools that was sent to me by Gav, just because I really needed it, and it is one of my favorite tools next to my skew. Gav, thanks a lot. Anytime I do a tenon, I always partially tighten it up and then move to the other side, tighten it up, move to the other side. These are just little tips that I've learned from other YouTubers when watching people. It just makes it so that it bites into the tenon and you know that it's not gonna go anywhere. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to, ooh, that's really loose. I don't like that that's really loose. I am going to hollow this out first. Like I said, I've got an idea in mind. On the shape that I want to do. And so I just use whatever Forstner bit that I want. And this one, I don't use very often because it is on the larger side. And it's slower going, and just for time's sake, I'm going to throw this in so you guys can see what happens when you use a larger Forstner bit. I usually like to go smaller and then work my way out, but just for time's sake, let's go ahead and use this. Turn up the speed just a little bit. And my lathe doesn't like it, so I'm going to turn it down. Hear how the motor keeps seizing or trying to shut down. Yeah, it's just too big. My lathe doesn't like it, so we're gonna do something else. We're gonna go smaller, and it's mostly because we've got the pith right here. Pith is always going to be the hardest. So we'll take that out and use it for another day. One thing I definitely need to get, is a bit extender. And I haven't found one. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Haven't found one yet that's going to be heavy duty enough. Now there's a lot of heat that's coming out of this. So nice and slow. Well, hey, Wayne. Sorry I missed you. Gerard, welcome. I hit a sweet spot. It's actually going in very nicely now. So now back it out. And then undo this, and let's put it in a little more. Now I haven't got much further to go, unfortunately. With the size of the bit, it's not going to allow my Jacobs chuck to fit in there very much. So that is as deep as I can get with that truck, which is all right. It just gives me a good start. Well, hey, Barry, welcome. Thanks for dropping in. So, just to kind of recap, watched SK Krafts, Steve, offered a challenge. I guess it's hashtag Vase Challenge. And if you make a vase or weed pod or, one of the little small things, take a picture of it, send it to him. And that way he will show your glorious work. And you can have some fun doing it anyway. So there we go. All right, now with this, I'm gonna go so deep on this. Ooh, there's still some furry stuff in there. All right. So we're going to use my miracle worker on this, which I have come to love carbide. These things will chew up anything and just make slick work out of it. Definitely a bonus. So let's hollow this out a little bit. Now you have to be careful because any pressure that you put, being that this is so long, it's going to want to come out of those jaws. So just have a good feel to it. See where you're at. And just nibble away. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. I'm getting the most resistance right in the middle because that's where the pith is. Okay, so I have this a little bit angled on the inside, kind of a funnel, because with the design I'm going to do, it's going to follow that. So, and I don't want to make a funnel. I'm definitely part of the funnel club many times over. Now, same principle as with your tailstock. Anytime that you have a tenon, make sure every time you stop, it's a good practice. You don't have to. It's just a good practice. Just make sure everything is tight. Hey, Stace! Stace is in the house. All right. So this is also a place where you could make a goblet if you wanted to, but I'm not going to. We're going to make a vase. And let's see here. Now, one thing that you can do, which is always a good best practice, is the more support that you can have on your piece, the better. So we'll just put the tailstock in and give it just a nice little snug. And then that way you know it's not going to fly off. So I am going to put kind of a lip right there. Don't want to go down too far because what's going to happen, it'll turn into a funnel. My glasses are steaming up again. I'm going to bring this up just a little bit. Now, I like using the spindle gouge. Thank you again, Gavin. And just put my shape that I want in it. If ever you want to see a expert using spindles, well, with anything really, check out Robbo Robertson, his channel. The man is a wizard for sure. Right now, Robbo is actually in the hospital. He ended up having a collapsed lung, and he is doing much better. But you know, he still keep him in your thoughts and in your prayers, and hopefully he'll come back to us, and we can see what other pieces he's doing. So. No worries, Stace. I appreciate that you're in and hanging out. It's good to see you. I need to get better at doing the demonstrating part because a lot of times I just seem to focus on my piece and I don't talk. Well, I don't talk a lot anyway. So being this only goes down so far, I don't want to make it too deep. I want to kind of keep, the symmetry of it. Not to mention, I'm not sure how deep I can go in here, but we'll try. I want to keep a foot on this, just because I think they're a little bit more stable. I don't know if I keep the foot on it, it's going to make it an urn versus a vase. But yeah, we'll just leave it the way with the foot. The one thing, I don't know if you guys notice or not, but see how smooth this is. Just from the way that I'm cutting this, going towards the headstock. And this is really interesting because this has like a wave in it that I did not create. I don't know how or why it's there. But using the spindle gouge and going towards the headstock, cutting with the grain, I've made it so I barely have to sand this. This is really interesting because it just kind of has some hard parts to it right in through here. And there's a little wave right here that I didn't do anything with. It just kind of does it on its own. So
forgot I'm going to have to shape up this head right here. I've got a chunk out of it. But I need to shape this top part a little more. And we'll also try to make it a little bit deeper now that we've got our shape on the outside. Now, being that we're pushing in towards the headstock, excuse me, all of that pressure is going right there, making it so, you know, it popping out of the jaws, it shouldn't happen. Shouldn't. Didn't say couldn't, shouldn't. Hope everybody's having a good day today. Happy Sunday. Those over in the UK, hope you're having a good evening. Just trying to get all of this on the inside to be uniform. I've got to be really careful of this little section right here, because if I get too close, then this top part's going to go away, and I don't want that. All right, well, yeah, we're doing really good on that rim. And look at the graining on here. Oh, that's going to be pretty. Still need to shape that up a little bit. It's just got that little notch in there. Whew, it is a hot one in here. And this is still a little bit wet. I can feel it in there. which I do believe I did. Nope, I didn't. It's still right there. I'm going to bring that down a little bit. Slight design change. But that did take care of that. So now round that over a little bit again. And I'm always looking on the back side here as to where my cut is. If I look here, I can't see it. So if you look here, you'll see the shadow of where I'm cutting. Make that nice and smooth. And let's see. So we're coming up 45 minutes on this. I'm going to do a little bit of sanding. I know how much everybody loves to watch sanding. However, I am not one of those guys that loves to do sanding, mostly because I really hate what gets breathed into my lungs. I really hate wearing the mask, and so I usually hold my breath or am exhaling when I'm sanding. When I inhale, I quit. And I usually step away too, just because I don't need all that sawdust going into my lungs. So, with that, I think this part is sanded enough. Still has that little lump there. That's really interesting. So I'm going to finish up the foot, make it look a little bit more presentable, and then we'll do some gloss on it and go from there. How did that do? Oh, good. It still has a little bit of the bark on it. I'll leave that. And then a little bit of sandpaper will finish up that roughness. Thanks, Gav. Appreciate that. Now, one thing I'm going to do before I start glossing things up is I'm going to give it some distinguishing lines just here and here. So I've got a piece of walnut, just a little strip. Burn into that. Love the smell of that walnut. And then burn a little section here. Nice. Alrighty. So now I'm gonna, well, let's see. I'm gonna use some axe. I'm just about out of it. And for those of you, you know, Tom Ackley, he puts that stuff out, axe wood cut paste. I'm gonna use some of this on the honey locust. I haven't done that before. I usually use my own goo, but we'll see how axe works. So just a little bit there. And use a little bit more on there. And I'm going to speed this up a little bit too. And I'm not pressing hard at all on this. I'm just letting the polish do its work. And you can see by the color on here why they call it honey locust. Just has a real nice bright honey color to it. And you can see it still has, well, kind of, it still has kind of residue. I want to get as much of that off as possible. And then they also have a finishing paste to which you just need a little bit. Coming up on 53 minutes. We're doing good, doing good. And clean portion of it. Nice. Okay, so with that, we're going to part it off, and then we'll have the big reveal on how it looks. So this one I'm going to use my Robert Sorby, and when I do this, I always go in at an angle because It actually helps it sit on the edges. Turn this down just a teeny bit. Well, hey, David, how are you, guy? I'm having a hard time seeing. All right. We're getting really close there. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Just turn that off and it should snap right on. Or try anyway. There we go. So, and there we go. We have one vase. Isn't that interesting? That is not a crack. That is just something that's going down through the wood. Has beautiful graining to it. Thanks, Chris. So it's not very deep, but that's okay. Definitely a keeper. So everybody that came in and hung out, thank you so much. If you're viewing this at a later time, thanks for supporting me. I really do appreciate coming in. I love the feedback. And I appreciate that you guys are watching me. As you can tell, I don't do very many lives anymore. I have a pretty busy life. Unfortunately, I'm a full-time working man, and then I still have family and all of that, to take care of. And they have my time. Family always comes first. But let's see here. Let's flip this around, and you can see my sweaty face. See? It's hot in here. Anyway, but you guys, thanks again. Gav, thanks for everything, John, David. Good to see you, Chris. Who else? Tommy, thanks for popping in. Stace, thanks for hanging out in the background. Anyway, you guys have a good Sunday. And like I say, do a good turn daily, either on your lathe or to somebody else out there that needs a little help. So that's what it's all about, folks. So have a good one.